Oh, joys. Right. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about really today was the risks that most people will tell you are associated with raw feeding, and they will specifically say. Now, we mentioned the risks of bones last time, but what we didn't mention was the risks of bacteria, and there is a reason why I didn't mention the risks of bacteria and what they can do. So if you are feeding a high fat, high protein, low to no carb diet to your dogs, then the risk of salmonella and other issues is drastically reduced. So what do I mean by that? So the naysayers will tell you that salmonella and lots of other things are in raw meat, and that's why we should be eating them cooked. And they are absolutely correct. And so what they're saying is, look, there's bacteria on the way in, and we've tested it, there's bacteria on the way out. Yes, there is. What they omit to tell you is there's no contraction of an infection from those pathogens in between if you are feeding a species appropriate diet, because when the pH starts to produce because of the large protein content in the food, that also sparks off bile and pancreatic juices, which are released into the duodenum after the stomach. They are bactericidal. That means they kill E. coli, Shigella, Salmonella, and Klebsiella. Okay, they are also bacteriostatic. That means they render them unable to reproduce for coagulase plus, positive and negative, Staphylococcus and Pseudomonas. And they also inhibit Candida albicans. Now, Candida albicans has been associated by a number of specialists with cancer. So, wow. Yes,
and so many people have that.
Yeah, absolutely. There is an amazing doctor over in Italy. I forget his full name. I think it's Simon Tumunci or something like that. And he has found a way to treat cancer with baking soda.
Oh my God!
And he has a 98% recovery rate within hours.
Wow!
By just injecting a baking soda solution into the vein that feeds, that is the blood feed for the tumor. They just shrivel up and die. So amazing. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying Candida albicans is associated with cancer. And as we know, unfortunately, 1 in every 2 dogs, it's about 2 now, gets cancer. Aww. Which is just awful. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So yes, you will find, if you do the tests, you will find those pathogens on the food going in if you have just bought human grade food. If you have, as in human grade meat, if you have been to a specialist and bought animal grade meat, which may have come from human grade meat animals, they go through, especially in England, I'm not so sure about in Australia, they actually go through much stricter testing. So it's much, much less likely that you're going to find salmonella and all these other things in those products. But even if you do, if you're feeding species appropriate, the dog will not contract it because of the bile and the pancreatic juices. It will either kill it or it will make it unable to reproduce. Okay, which is the bactericidal or the bacteriostatic. That means that obviously it is going to be passed. So it is going to be in fecal matter. Yes. So this is why vets are, oh gosh, it's got all these pathogens in the meat going in and it's got pathogens coming out. Yeah, but if you don't know to clean your hands after handling raw meat and to not pick up fecal matter with your hands and then put your hands in your mouth, then the risk. But most people who cook pretty much know that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like when you're,
just to make it clear,
when you're cooking with raw egg or cooking with chicken, it's like everything you touch has to be cleaned really well or you will contract it yourself, and that's preparation for humans. So the same applies,
Exactly.
right?
So as long as you keep that in mind when you're preparing your pet's food, especially if you're preparing from scratch, or you may be buying something that's pre-made that you can literally just sort of dole out of the packet into a bowl, but that doesn't mean you're not gonna spill some or whatever. But and you know, don't let toddlers near where the animal has just made a mess.
Yeah.
It's quite simple, really.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are sort of scare tactics around it, and so I wanted to make it very clear to people that, yep, it's true. The science will show the pathogens on the way in and on the way out, but this very different scenario from there's science and then there's whole science.
So
there's show one side of the picture or show the whole picture.
right. So when
You know?
we talked about with Scout, our dog, and this is how we got on this whole conversation, and I was tapping into some of your knowledge there. We talked about what do we start with, and you said to don't jump right into chicken. So what do you think is a good meat to start with?
Right. So don't jump right into chicken. Now, the reason I say this is what we find is a lot of dogs have protein allergies. There are theories of how these have come about, but chicken is the most common protein allergy. And so what we recommend to start an animal on, believe it or not, is rabbit.
Cool.
So if you can find, in England, we have quite a lot of wild rabbits. I believe you do too.
I actually have not been out looking for rabbit yet, but I will definitely.
No. But so we have quite a lot of wild rabbits. We have some farmed rabbits. So we can, I'm very lucky. I can import rabbit. And it's because the rabbits, so the theorems of how these allergies come is because of the vaccine ingredients being grown on eggs or in animal livers and kidneys and all the rest of it, and the fact that the animal that's been injected with that particular vaccine has had a reaction to that vaccine, and the body associates the egg or the chicken with that reaction to the vaccine, and therefore you get a problem. So what we recommend is that you start with a rabbit which hasn't been associated with those things, and you do what we call an elimination diet. So you could start with rabbit, and then you could add something one at a time, especially if you've got a particularly sensitive animal. So you would add, let's say, chicken. If there's no reaction the first day, go 3 to 5 days. If there's still no reaction, then you know you can include chicken.
And what kind of reactions are you looking for, Hope? If there is an allergy?
If there is an allergy, you're looking for vomiting, you're looking for diarrhea. It could be even something as simple as watery eyes or coughing or just off behavior. It could be, it could be from one extreme to the other.
Okay.
But that's why we say just do one sort of new food group at a time. Very similar to when we were weaning our babies.
For sure. And what about
one food group at a time and go from there.
And what about vegetables? Is there a certain amount of fruits and vegetables that you would recommend to provide a variety of nutrients for dogs?
Yes, so there are some particular vegetables that I recommend. The balance between the meat, the offal, bone, and the fruit and vegetables, and the supplements that you're going to add, like the cottage cheese that I was telling you about the other week.
Yeah, that looks good.
Is very dependent on the animal, to be honest. So, for example, I used the balance created by Dr. Ian Billinghurst, who is sorry, my son is coughing, who is a vet in Australia. In fact, he's the vet that came up with the concept of biologically raw food. He's the first one to sort of write a book on the subject, other than a rather eccentric woman from England who was not a vet, but she was she was a vet. I'm just trying to think of I'm on the wrong level here. When I first started raw feeding, I actually started out with this book by Dr. Ian Billinghurst, and I went through it every meal that I prepared.
Cool.
Every single one. And eventually it sort of sinks in. But what I found was I had to lower the amount of veg for my particular animals.
And how did you figure that out?
They didn't get on with it, or they were like, oh no, do I have to eat that? Or you know, it was coming out a little bit too soon, a little bit too watery, but I mean, I know people who has one dog that has stacks of veg and one dog that has, you know, a tiny amount. You do have to do it based on the dog, in the same way as, you know, when we were talking about what amount, the recommendations for the amount that you feed are 2 to 3% of body weight per day. Right. But high energy dogs may need more. Low energy dogs may need less. It's very, very dependent on their digestive system, their metabolism, and all the rest of it. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like Scout's 12 now, so he's not going to need the same as when he was 3. So we've been keeping an eye on how he looks, his energy level, you know, how spontaneous he is. Like when we come in the doors, he's excited as he is. And I have been looking at his eyes and all those kind of things, and he's doing really well.
Great.
So we're quite excited to see how this continues. And I love getting on here and talking to you about this stuff. When are we doing this again?
Wednesday.
Let's
go for it on Wednesday.
Okay, cool. Did you want to add anything else?
On the raw feeding for this particular subject, I think we're covered. I think we're both on our 60-hour fast at the moment, aren't we?
I have to be honest. I knew that there was half of the group that was doing it next Sunday because there was a shipment issue. So I actually did 20 hours, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it off one more week because it was 2 weeks ago. I did 2 in January. And I felt amazing.
You did, fair enough.
And I was like, God, it just feels like I finished this, right? So I'm going to do it in another week and spread it out the fun a little bit. But we do have a lot of people doing it and having great results. A girlfriend of mine did it who works at a cafe, and she went to work both days, didn't eat anything, just had all her great support stuff from that keto reboot, and lost 2.5 kilos. She's feeling amazing. So
wow.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see your results.
My trousers are falling off as it is.
Yeah, exactly. Just wait. That's all right. You're saving up for your new wardrobe. It's gonna be great.
I am. I've got quite a bit of it. I don't know if you've seen the image. I've bought quite a few things already.
Oh no, I need to see this picture. I'll go check out your page now. Do you want to say
check
goodnight?
It out. It's also on my Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, and I'm sorry about the technology. Let's say goodbye to this munchkin.
Hi, Kai.
Say night night.
Hi, gorgeous girl.
Night night. Okay.
Hi, baby girl.
Have a great day, Hope. Thanks for joining us, guys.
And you.
See ya.
Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye.